And we're back in one of the storage sheds, and termites have not been kind to the base for this thing. And I think there's some of the stuff that goes with it in here. We might have to try to get out, but we're gonna try to get this thing out of here. We might try to drag out that stand, that base over there, which I'm guessing is probably the original base to this. I'm not sure why it's mounted on a wood base now, but I have no idea if this thing still works. It is a valve grinder, and it hasn't been used in probably at least 40 years, 30 years, probably. I remember when we put it in here, probably 30 years ago, and it hadn't been used for a long time since then. And that's why I got put in here, because it just never got used. It looks like it does still turn. We'll have to get all this stuff freed up. I've got a few valves that need to be ground, and we're gonna see if we can use this to do it. And we got a practice one here. So, see if we can get this thing out of here. Yeah, I guess the good thing is we don't have to get the base out for this base. Make it a little bit easier, because we don't have to go over that, all that junk. We can just try to carry this part of it. I don't know if it's bolted down or what, but we'll see if we can get it and get it cleaned up and see if we can make it work. And I don't know if I've got all the stones I need for it. We'll have to see. And I'm probably gonna have to look up a manual on this thing, because I've never seen it used. I've never used it. I don't know if you put oil in it or water or what, but it does pump a liquid of some sort on the valve, I guess, as you're grinding it. And I don't know if I have all the attachments or not. We'll just have to see. All right, we are soaking everything down. Nothing moves except for the motor and the pulleys and stuff and the grinding wheels. Went ahead and oiled every oil zert, and on the bottom there's some grease zerts. Did all that, and then we just took the cover off of that, and we were trying to get all this freed up, and it is, everything's stuck on this thing, but we'll see if we can get it. I've got most everything freed up except for this shaft right here, and I've got it soaking, and I'm just trying to get it. I took everything off of it so I could get onto it without messing up the dial or the hand wheel, and but everything else is, we've gotten freed up. This part of it stopped turning, and I don't know if the belt was just slipping. There's so much oil and stuff on here. I'm gonna have to clean all the belts after. But this did stop turning. But as you can see, I think our belt is just slipping on the bottom pulley. And then the chuck was froze up, and I've got the chuck working. It'll actually hold a valve now. This is just an old valve that was on the machine, but as you can see, if we open the chuck up, stick a valve in it, close it, it holds it now. The stones look good on it, and we can true them up. This thing's working. Like I said, everything's oiled up. The motor works. The only thing, and it also, you can do the grind the valve stems over on this side. I have not tried to get any of this working because I don't need to use it. We're gonna just leave that alone for right now. So to grind the valves, the only thing left Well, two things. Depends on what angle it's stuck at, but also have not gotten it to the angle to change. This whole thing slides along this, and I haven't really tried getting that working, but right now it's not working, and I need to find somewhere there's markings on this that say what the angle is, and I haven't found those yet. So we got to find those and figure out what angle it's at, and then this is what moves this in and out. So we definitely have to get that working, and it's not working right now. We have success. So I took this all apart to get to that nut that was froze up, and put some heat on it, got the belt off and put some heat on it, and we got it freed up. Well, can't really do it one-handed, but there we go. It is freed up. So we're gonna take that off. We're gonna take the nut off, take the shaft off, hit it with the wire wheel, and get all that rust off of that shaft. Get it all cleaned up. We're gonna finish. Tried getting this big bolt loose. Can't really do it. So I think what I'm gonna do is try to swing this whole assembly out this way. I think I can. And we'll clean up the wire wheel as much as we can, get all this rust off to get this thing where it pivots. I did get it where it'll pivot. It's stiff, but it pivots. And so we'll do that. I've cleaned the chuck and the shaft up on the wire wheel, and we'll clean up the rest of this stuff and then start to put everything back together. But we've got this assembly freed up. And I still don't know if I might still go ahead and buy some valves. We'll see. I just don't know with the amount of pitting that's on them if they're gonna clean up without taking too much off of them. So we may end up buying valves anyway, but I definitely wanted to get this freed up. The other thing we've got to do is that's frozen up, which is I think is the slide for this whole thing. We're gonna have to free that up, but we at least got this done. All right, about as much as we're gonna disassemble this thing. I've wire wheeled it, and I've just sprayed some used motor oil all over the thing, just kind of lube it up, and then we'll wipe it down. It moves pretty freely up until about right here, and it kind of binds up, but I think that is our last mark. And I think probably what happened is it's never been really past here, and this channel in here is probably pretty rusted, and that doesn't want to slide through. And so we're not gonna force it. I think we can get all the angles we need to out of it. And we really can't. I could probably drive that pin out and unscrew this and knock that piece out. But I really don't want to do all that. Well, I guess I can undo that set screw, do that, but I think we've got it where it'll move. It's full range of motion. And I just kind of hit everything with wire wheel and knocked. I mean, it's got so much rust staining and stuff, but it's smooth again. You see. So that's what we're left with. But as good as it can get. I mean, that's nice. That'll work. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna reassemble this thing, and then we're gonna have to kind of do the same thing over there with the whole motor plate, because that thing is froze up. And I think what we'll do is start by trying to maybe see if we can get these screws out. I don't know if that would help us. Don't know. But it's definitely froze up. I spoke too soon. You know, I lubricated all this stuff and sprayed everything down a week ago, and look at this. So I think what we'll do now, we will do lots more oil and just lubricate this thing like crazy, and I think it'll be good there. We'll reassemble that, and we should have a good working machine. We're gonna have to clean up a lot of this oil. The pulley is covered in oil, and kind of wipe our belt down and the bottom pulley. And I think that's all that was wrong here, is just the thing was, the belt was so soaked in oil, it was slipping. So we'll do that. I'm gonna clean up all these other pieces, and I'm gonna go ahead and reassemble this thing. Well, it's all back together except for that cover, which I'm gonna leave off. I'm gonna run it a little bit, oil the shaft there while I'm letting it run. Clean the belt up real good. The belt's in pretty bad shape. Now, still gotta tighten down those. We're gonna I'm gonna tighten them to where I'm gonna be turning the shaft, and when I feel it start to tighten down on it, then I'm gonna back off on those. I mean, that's the best I know to do, you know, to take up the slop in that bushing. It's not really a bushing, it's just riding on cast iron. We're just gonna make sure, because basically it's gonna ride on an oil film, and so it doesn't need to be tight. It just needs to be not loose, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so we're gonna do that. Everything's freed up, the motor's freed up. I don't know if the oil pump works. We're gonna have to try that out. I haven't done anything with the stuff on the other end. We'll save that for another time, but I may just go ahead and get this all cleaned up or oiled up, and we may, if the oil pump works, we may try see what we can do with this valve that I have here, and see if we can make it, clean it up a little bit as practice. I need to see what the angles are for, how to figure out what the angle is. We need to set this thing on a 45-degree angle, and most likely where it's gonna stay probably for most of its life. It's probably where it was, but since we freed it all up, I'm not exactly sure where it was, and I've just got it lined up on one of the notches. Well, we have success. So filled up the thing, actually filled it up with used motor oil, and it didn't pump. So I drained that out, and I put some used ATF in it. After some more research, some people run ATF in them. Thought maybe the motor oil was a little too thick, and it's still not pumping. So the pump is shot. So I've got a spray bottle here, and I'm just spraying the valve, and to keep it cool, just manually. And I think we have success. I found the marks on here, and it should be set to 45 from what I can tell. I double checked it, and I'll show you how I did that. My angle finder here, I zeroed it out on the workbench, and then I stuck the valve on the edge and put the angle finder on that edge, and we have 45 degrees. Now this valve this is one that was on that machine, and it actually, I need to face the stone, and of course that wasn't helping anything on the stone. That probably hurt the stone, but we'll face the stone, and we've got a pretty good finish. We can take one of these. I'm gonna check the angle on it, like I did that, make sure it's 45. I think it is, and we'll see if we can grind just that little edge right there and see what happens. Let's just start with this first one, and we'll see if we can clean that up. Take just a little bit of it off. All right, let's face the stone. It's got a little bit of edge right there. So this is basically what you use to do it. It's a diamond stone on it. We'll do a couple passes with it. so we get a good edge right here. You can see we got a little bit of darkness right there and light there. That means we have not touched that yet. We got to get a good edge right here. Looking better. I think one more pass and we'll have it. Now we're going to set this up. Yeah, I shouldn't have had that. We were keeping this from rotating. Not good on the belt. Alright, we got too much sticking out here. Let's do it there, and then we'll run this out. Yeah, that's a good 45. Probably not going to touch it yet. You can kind of see a dark spot. Look at that. I'm gonna go get the other valves, and we're gonna go ahead and see if we can get them all cleaned up. That looks good to me. That is a good finish, and our stone's looking good. We might do a slight, well, it's still got a good edge on it, so we'll probably run it on the next valve. We'll just keep a good eye on it and you know, keep a good edge on it. But that looks really good. I mean, I'm sure machines nowadays will do a lot better finish than that, but that is not bad. And we will lap the valves, and that'll work out really well. So I'm not going to video all of them. We got a lot of valves to do, so I'm going to go get the rest of them and do the same process on all the other 15 of them, and we'll get these in good shape. Alright, I think this is where we're going to leave this thing, and I did pull the cart out of the storage building. This is not the cart it was sitting on, but it was sitting on a wooden cart that was rotten. I don't know why it had been removed from this cart, but I never knew it on this cart. When I remember it when I was a kid, you know, thinking back like 30 years ago, this thing was sitting on that wooden cart, and then we moved it into that storage building on that wooden cart, and I think this metal cart was already in that storage building. So I really don't know why it was on there, but or why it wasn't on here, but it wasn't. Maybe the other one had more storage. I think it did. It was as wide as the thing, so maybe that's what it was. But this one's kind of cool because you can set your valves down in these holes as you're working on them. As you saw, I didn't have it on here while I was using it, and I thought about leaving it on the little moving dolly that it was sitting on, but I was like, you know what? I've got my valve seat grinder and all the stuff, and I could store those in the cabinet, keep track of all this stuff, and so that's what I did. It's stored inside of here. So, and then the sharpener. It's got these things where you can drop. All right, I went and turned the compressor off. So the pump is not working. It's got some oil in here. Well, it's mostly used transmission fluid, mixed with a little bit of oil. Not a big deal. I just threw some oil in a spray bottle and just used that to spray the valve. It worked okay. Maybe with this thing sitting with some oil in it and that oil sitting in that pump, maybe it'll start working. I kind of doubt it, but I don't know what kind of pump it is, but it's not working. Went ahead and threw this cover back on it. These are oil ports. This one it was kind of clogged up. It's freed up now. This one was broke off with no nut on it. It was twisted off even. And so I cleared it out. It was also plugged up, and I tapped the inside of it, and threw this nut on here, or this bolt on here, and then this washer is the same diameter as the shaft, or the hollow stud, or whatever you want to call it, the oil port, whatever, so that it tightens down, because it's sticking up just slightly above the cover. So if I put just the nut on here, it wouldn't tighten down. So just like that, and the cover's tight. So that'll work there. What I'll do is when I'm running this thing, I'll take this nut, or take this bolt out, so I can just shoot oil straight down in there, and then this oil port here is working. So I'll use that as a normal oil port, and use this one as take that out and just put oil in it. So all working and all oiled up. The cart, I just sprayed it down with some used motor oil and wiped it all down, just to keep it from, or help keep it from rusting more. It's gonna be stored inside, so that's definitely gonna help it. And then this was just wiped all down with oil, and it's gonna get dusty and dirty, but I don't want it to rust. This side of it we haven't done anything with, and eventually, if we're gonna, maybe on a rainy day, I'll tear into this side and see if I can free it up. But for now, it's good. And so yeah, I think that's where we're gonna leave it. I'm gonna find a place to store it out of the way inside the shop here, and we'll use it some other time, I guess. I don't know how. I doubt I'll use this very often, so it may be a while before you see me use it again, but you'll probably see it in the background in some of the other videos. So thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and subscribe for more.